The dark history of porn websites, uncovering the truth behind the glamour. Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the hidden truths and shocking realities about pornography. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the history of porn websites, how it all started, the key figures behind the scenes, the most dominant companies, their goals, and their scandals. This documentary will reveal the dark side of an industry that is often glamorized but rarely understood. Origins of pornography. Our journey begins in the late 19th century. Thomas Edison, the famous inventor, played an unexpected role in the first erotic films. In 1896, Edison's company produced a short film called The Kiss, which was scandalous for its time. This marked the beginning of erotic cinema and set the stage for the evolution of pornography. The rise of Playboy fast forward to the 1950s, when Hugh Hefner launched Playboy. Hefner transformed the perception of pornography by linking it with a luxurious lifestyle. Playboy wasn't just about nudity, it was about selling a fantasy. Hefner's vision turned pornography into an acceptable and even desirable commodity, paving the way for its mainstream acceptance. The Golden Age of Porn. The 1970s brought the golden age of porn with the release of Deep Throat in 1972. Directed by Gerard Damiano, this film was one of the first to have a plot and became a mainstream phenomenon. It starred Linda Lovelace, who later revealed the abuse and exploitation she endured, shedding light on the dark reality behind the glamour. The Internet Revolution. The 1990s saw the advent of the Internet, which revolutionized the porn industry. Websites like Pornhub, founded by Fabian Tillman, made pornography easily accessible to anyone with an internet connection. This shift transformed porn from something you bought in a store to something you could access anonymously at home. Dominant companies and key figures. Today, porn industry is dominated by a few key companies. MindGeek, the parent company of Pornhub, RedTube, and YouPorn, controls 90% of the world's online porn traffic. This conglomerate has turned pornography into a billion-dollar industry. The people behind MindGeek prefer to stay out of the spotlight, avoiding the scrutiny that comes with their immense power. Scandals and exploitation. MindGeek and its affiliates have been involved in numerous scandals. In 2020, Pornhub faced a major backlash after it was revealed that the site hosted non-consensual and underage content. This led to a significant purge of videos and increased scrutiny of their practices. However, the damage was already done, and many people had already been exploited. The dark side of porn filmmaking. Behind the glamour of the porn industry lies a dark and often abusive reality. Linda Lovelace, star of Deep Throat, became an anti-pornography advocate after revealing the abuse she suffered during her career. Her story is a stark reminder of the human suffering behind the scenes. Other porn stars have also spoken out about their struggles with mental health and exploitation. Jenna Jameson, one of the most famous porn stars, has talked about the toll the industry took on her mental health. Mia Khalifa has been vocal about how her brief career in porn continues to affect her life years later, including receiving threats and being disowned by her family. The cost of addiction. The cost of pornography addiction is not limited to the performers. Many users of porn are trapped in a cycle of addiction, spending money they can't afford on subscriptions, live chats, and cam sites. This addiction destroys relationships, leads to financial ruin, and causes deep psychological scars. Mental health struggles. Pornography is often glamorized, but the reality for many performers is far from glamorous. The industry is rife with mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. The pressure to perform and the stigma associated with the profession can lead to a host of psychological problems. The human cost. The human cost of pornography is enormous. It's not just about the money or the fame. It's about the lives that are destroyed in the process. The stories of Linda Lovelace, Jenna Jameson, and Mia Khalifa are just a few examples of the many performers who have suffered because of this industry. Ted Bundy and the dark influence of porn. We cannot discuss the impact of porn without mentioning the chilling confession of Ted Bundy. Hours before his execution, Bundy revealed that his violent crimes were fueled by an addiction to pornography. He described how his obsession with porn escalated from softcore to increasingly violent and deviant content, which he claimed contributed to his descent into madness. Bundy's case is a stark reminder of how pornography can influence behavior in the most horrific ways.
I'm going to tell you as honestly as I know how what happened. I think this is a message I want to get across. But as a young boy, and I mean the boy of 12 or 13, certainly, that I encountered outside the home again, in the local grocery store, or the local drugstore, the softcore pornography, what people call softcore. But as I think I explained to you last night, Dr. Dobson, in an anecdote, that as young boys do, we explored the back roads and sideways and byways of our neighborhood, and oftentimes people would dump the garbage and whatever they were cleaning out of their house, and from time to time we'd come across pornographic books of a harder nature than more graphic, you might say, more explicit nature than we would encounter, let's say, in your local grocery store. And this also included such things as, let's say, detective magazines and more hardcore.
Those that involve violence.
Yes, and and this is something I think I want to emphasize is the most damaging kinds of pornography. And again, I'm talking from personal experience. Hard, real, personal experience. The most damaging kinds of pornography are those that involve violence and sexual violence. Because the wedding of those two forces, as I know only too well, brings about behavior that is just too terrible to describe.
Now, walk me through that. What was going on in your mind at that time?
Okay, before we go any further, I think it's important to me that people believe what I'm saying, to tell you that I'm not blaming pornography and not saying that it caused me to go out and do certain things. And I take full responsibility for whatever I've done and all the things that I've done. That's not the question here. The question and the issue is how this kind of literature contributed and helped mold and shape the kinds of violent behavior.
It fueled your fantasies, didn't it?
Well, in the beginning, it fuels this kind of thought process. Then, at a certain time, it's instrumental in what I would say crystallizing it, making it into something which is almost like a separate entity inside. And at that point, you're at the verge, or I was at the verge of acting out on these kinds of thoughts.
Now, I really want to understand that. You had gone about as far as you could go in your own fantasy life with printed material. And you made or printed and video or film
magazines, what have you.
And then there was the urge to take that little step or big step over to a physical event.
And it happened in stages, gradually. It doesn't necessarily, not to me at least, happen overnight. My experience with, I say pornography generally, but with pornography that deals on a violent level with sexuality, is that once you become addicted to it, and I look at this as a kind of addiction, like other kinds of addiction, I would keep looking for more potent, more explicit, more graphic kinds of material. Like an addiction, you keep craving something which is harder, something which gives you a greater sense of excitement, until you reach the point where the pornography only goes so far. You reach that jumping off point where you begin to wonder if maybe actually doing it will give you that which is beyond just reading about it or looking at it.
The Elizabeth Smart case. Another harrowing example is the abduction of Elizabeth Smart. Her captor, Brian David Mitchell, was heavily influenced by pornography. During her captivity, Smart was subjected to unspeakable horrors, which Mitchell later attributed to his consumption of violent porn. This case highlights the dangerous link between pornography and sexual violence.
So when I was 14, I remember crawling into bed next to my younger sister and falling asleep. And the next thing I remember hearing was a man's voice saying, "I have a knife at your neck. Don't make a sound. Get up and come with me." I remember getting up and doing exactly as he said, because I didn't know if he'd been through my house already. I didn't know if he'd killed the rest of my family. The one thing I did know, though, was that my younger sister was still in bed next to me, alive. He led me up behind my house, up into the mountains. I was brought into this campsite. It was very well stocked, very well hidden, and it was this man who had kidnapped me, and his wife was waiting for us there. The woman took me into the tent where she forced me to change the clothes I had on, and then she got up and left, and the next thing I knew, this man was in there telling me I was his wife and then raping me. Then I remember he was kneeling above me and he had this piece of metal cable and he was wrapping it around my ankle and then crushing these bolts into place so that I couldn't escape. And that was the beginning of what turned into the longest 9 months of my life. So every time when I thought I'd hit rock bottom, my captor would find something new to make it worse. And one of those times I had been forced to drink alcohol and I had thrown up and then I'd passed out face down. And I woke up the next morning and my face and my hair were still all crusted to the ground, covered in vomit. And I remember at that point just feeling like, how can you get any lower than this? And it was just a few days later that my captor was really excited and really kind of amped up about something. And he said, I have something and I'm going to show it to you and you have to look at it. You have to look at it. And then I remember he pulled out this magazine full of hardcore pornography. And I remember he would just sit and look at it and stare at it. And he'd just talk about these women. And then when he was done, he would turn and he'd look at me and he'd be like, "Now we're going to do this." It just led to him raping me more than he already did, which was a lot. Looking at pornography wasn't enough for him. Having sex with his wife after looking at pornography, it wasn't enough for him. And then it led him to finally going out and kidnapping me. He just always wanted more. I can't say that he would not have gone out and kidnapped me had he not looked at pornography. All I know is that pornography made my living hell worse.
Future of pornography. As society becomes more aware of the dark side of pornography, there is hope for change. More people are speaking out, and movements are growing to combat the influence of the porn industry. However, it will take a concerted effort to change the narrative and protect those who are most vulnerable. Conclusion. If you're struggling with porn addiction or know someone who is, there is help. We've written a comprehensive ebook, Porn Kills Your Heart, based on 4 years of research. It's available for free on our blog, along with the audiobook version. You can also find it on our channel. We don't want your money. We want your safety, the safety of your kids, and a better world. We're contributing to the angelic side of humanity because we haven't given up on the human race. Join us in this fight. Spread the word, share this video, and explore more about the dangers of porn. Let's make this knowledge mainstream. Let's make a difference. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more eye-opening content. Visit our blog, read our articles, and stay informed. Together, we can create a porn-free world. Remember, your dignity, self-worth, and mental health are priceless. Don't let porn destroy them.
Shop our merch on our website. To support our cause, to bring more content to more people in need. We are working as hard as possible to bring more content, and your support will bless us to work even harder.